You heard it here first. Bitcoin is going to zero. Zero. When it comes out, zero.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Bitcoin is up over 3% at the time of making this video. Now, I'm going to be honest right now, as I'm making this video, Bitcoin is literally trying to break out right now. So maybe by the time you're seeing it, the price is going to be totally different. But as you can see right now, it's super critical. We're basically trying to break above this double top right here. You can see right here when Bitcoin got up to about the $9,500 level. And currently, we actually got all the way up to around $9,600. Now, we've pulled back slightly, and we are struggling around the $9,500, $9,600 level. So is Bitcoin going to have a bit of a fake out and dump back down to a lower level? Well, we're going to get into that today. Of course, you may know before I do if you're watching this video in the future. But what I want to go into specifically is the fact that we have CME Bitcoin futures open interest at an all-time high. And if that's not bullish enough data for you, I do want to talk about one specific thing involving the Bitcoin halving that not a lot of people are talking about right now that actually involves accumulation from some really big institutions and the fact that that supply is getting cut in half. And we need to talk about whether or not that's actually bullish for Bitcoin. You may actually be surprised to see how much these guys are actually buying in the background. Stick around for that. And I also want to talk about the fact that we do have proof that lots of investors are moving out of traditional assets and into hard assets like Bitcoin and gold. And of course, we did talk about yesterday the fact that we may have a golden cross on the Bitcoin chart coming up probably within the week or so. So we're going to get into all that today. If that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. And yeah, without further ado, let's dive directly into the charts. Now you can see right here, as I just drew, we are basically pushing up on these levels right here. It does look like Bitcoin could be putting in a bit of a double top. You can see right here, though, we have maintained this very nice uptrend recently. If I actually just draw that trend right here, you can actually see that Bitcoin is sort of respecting this. So, you know, if we do kind of get stomped out here and we kind of bounce back down to the line, you know, you could see Bitcoin retest the $9,300, $9,200 level, or we could just blast to the moon. I'm not too sure. Like I said, we're trying to have the breakout as I'm making this video. One thing I do want to point out is we are at an extremely critical level. Speaking of the Bitcoin CME futures, you could see right here how important this yellow line was. Basically, when we got all the way up to the $14,000 high, we bounced on this level here, we jumped up, we bounced on it again. Finally, when we fell through, you can see we came down here, and then look, now that level acted as resistance. Right here, we barely stayed above it, acted as resistance again, and currently, we are sitting at that level at resistance once again. So we really need to see Bitcoin break above this yellow line and put in a nice, solid daily candle on the CME futures, and that would be extremely bullish for Bitcoin in the short term. You could see even with all this pump that we've had, we're still being held down by this major resistance level, the level that basically held us down since Bitcoin's all-time high at 20K, and it continues to hold us down right here. So we do have to get above this purple level. Like I said, we are actually kind of trying to break above it right now, but once again, we need a solid candle close. This is over on the weekly chart, so I would like to see Bitcoin close out this week. I mean, we only have a few days left for this week, but I would like to see Monday Bitcoin sitting higher than the $9,500 level. That would be bullish for Bitcoin. And as far as the altcoins are concerned, you could see that Bitcoin is sitting right at its resistance for its dominance up here at 68.32%. Now, hopping over here, having a look at the altcoins, you could see that a lot of the altcoins are in the red today, whereas Bitcoin is actually taking the lead. Even if we come over here, actually, some of them are starting to switch into the green right now, but you can see that for the most part, the leaders, the top altcoins, I should say, are in the mild red, while Bitcoin is in the green. But yeah, you can see right here, we are having this very critical level at this double top, bull pennant, flag, ascending triangle, descending triangle. Point is we were coming out of a bullish move. This was the flag. We did have a target of around $10,400, but obviously, we need confirmation on the breakout. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is the real deal? Are we having the breakout? Maybe by the time this video comes out, we've had the pullback, potentially down to this level. I still think we would be supported by this trend. But yeah, I mean, that would bring us down to maybe the low 9,000s, potentially the high 8,000s. Or we could just keep pumping to the moon. I mean, that is a possibility for Bitcoin. Like I said, we have put in 7 green weekly candles. The last time we did that was right before Bitcoin's crazy pump, where we had a doji, and then we put in 166% gain. So, I mean, just to kind of, play around with that number, if Bitcoin was to have another gain like that, 166% actually puts Bitcoin over $25,000. So let me know if you think that's going to happen in the future. But I do want to point out one thing before we move on, and that is the fact that I still am looking at a potential golden cross right here, where we have the 50 moving up, the 200, they're going to meet right here, and that is considered bullish. However, before you jump to conclusions, I just want to point out that the last time right here that we had a death cross, Bitcoin actually pumped in anticipation. And when we had, this bullish cross right here, Bitcoin actually dumped afterwards. So tricky whales. Be careful, guys. But nevertheless, Bitcoin halving coming up in 4 days. Are you excited? I'm excited. I don't care if the price dumps or whatever. I'm just excited because you know what? Regardless, we are having the halving, and the price is getting cut in half. By the way, yesterday, somebody said, I hope you're having a good day. That was a good one. But you can see right here that search terms for buy Bitcoin have retraced, but Bitcoin halving, which is this red line right here, has actually continued to skyrocket, which means more people are still searching for Bitcoin halving. They're very interested in the Bitcoin halving. And you can see right here, this is what I wanted to point out. So over here, you could see Listed Reserve pointed out that if you take basically CashApp and Grayscale, they're essentially purchasing over 50% of all of the Bitcoin that was issued in Q1. Now, if the supply is getting cut in half, well, then that means that they would essentially be consuming 100% of the Bitcoin being issued, which we know that's not going to happen. So basically, if they're consuming 50% of all of the Bitcoin coming out right now, and the supply is getting cut in half, in order for these guys to continue to consume the exact amount of Bitcoin, they would essentially need to buy all of the Bitcoin, 100% of the Bitcoin. We know that's not happening. Been saying having too much. We know that that's not going to happen, and this is going to create that demand. It is simple economics. You can see right here, Alistair Main says, what happens in less than 5 days if the two entities are already buying 52% of all Bitcoin mined? If they have to keep buying the Bitcoin, there's not going to literally be enough. We also have the reports coming out from the whales, which are accounts holding either basically over 1,000 Bitcoin. They have been accumulating the entire time since January, and this shows that they've been accumulating even more in just the past week. So these are whales. These are guys that already have a ton of Bitcoin. They have over 1,000 Bitcoin, which is just an astronomical number to even comprehend, and they're accumulating right now at these prices. Let me know what you guys think about that. But I do want to point about the shift to things away from traditional assets into assets that are called hard assets like gold, like Bitcoin. And I actually want to play this interview that came out from Mike Novogratz and his opinion, first of all, what he's doing with his portfolio, and also why he believes that, you know, traditional investors will be moving into things like hard assets. So I'm going to play this clip super quick, and then we're going to talk about it.
So what are you doing, Mike, with your portfolio? Besides growing a mustache?
You know, I grew the mustache. It's my Corona mustache. And I said I'm going to keep it until, you know, the quarantine is over. My God, I think it might be Christmas at this point. You know, I got kind of cautious on stocks 3-4 weeks ago. And I just looked before I came on. You know, we're pretty much at the exact same level of the S&P we were April 9th, so 3.5 weeks ago. I don't think stocks are going to do a lot. The VIX has come down. I think they're going to kind of chop around. There's some positives. There's some negatives. I'm a little bearish stocks. I still am very bullish hard assets. This idea that central banks and you know, fiscal agents around the world have put us into a position we've never been in before, with 20-25% GDP budget deficits coming. And we're not sure how the world will handle that. I think there'll be a push to hard assets. There is a very decent chance, much higher than it was before, of some stagflationary or inflationary environment. And so I'm still on a lot of gold. I love Bitcoin. Next Tuesday, we have the Bitcoin halving, where the inflation rate gets cut in half. And so you talk about inflation and fiat currencies, where the Fed is printing money like it's a money printing machine. And in the Bitcoin space, you know, the money supply gets cut 50%. And so big deal there. We're seeing lots of new investors in that space, hedge funds that are buying it, not just as individual managers, but buying it in their fund. I think you'll see some announcements soon of that, or, you know, investor letters out. And so all positive stuff in terms of flow into that space. And so that's where the bulk of my risk is. It's been a fun environment in the Bitcoin space. After a long desert, we now really have real activity.
And he even mentions that it is the bulk of his investments, meaning that he's mostly betting on Bitcoin as his best risk to reward ratio. Now, in response to Mike Novogratz, Pierre Ricard actually said, this was over on Twitter, he said smart landlords should be selling their properties and buying the world's best real estate. Bitcoin. Holding Bitcoin is a lot easier than correctly managing a real estate portfolio, dealing with occupancy, renovations, repairs, lawyers, regulators, bankers, and rent strikers, etc. Somebody said, plus they don't call you in the middle of the night to tell you that their toilet is broken. Okay, but I do want to point what Alex Kruger said. Now, he is an economist. He's been very objective, too. He's not like a Bitcoin bull. I mean, he does talk about Bitcoin, but he tends to be quite objective. He says Bitcoin has been going up on an increased demand coming from both retail and non-retail market participants. This can be appreciated in various data points, such as increasing spot volumes and CME open interest. The proximity of the halving helps increase demand temporarily. And you can see over here, like I was speaking about, the open interest on the CME futures group, which is essentially the value of the outstanding derivative contracts that have yet to be settled, actually hit an all-time high of 400 million, whereas the previous all-time high on February 14th was around 338 million. And if that's not enough, Alex Kruger does go into 4 data points pointing what Bitcoin's current macro drivers are. He says loss of faith in governments, lower rate push speculators out of the risk curve, negative real interest rates, and 4, inflation. These are all interconnected. The faces of a 4-sided dice. So let me know what you guys think. Lots of bullishness. Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves. Maybe this is just a fake pump into the halving. Maybe we're going to have a bit of a sell-off. But guys, inevitably, it doesn't change the fact that you are seeing literally Grayscale and CashApp consuming over 50% of the Bitcoin being mined, which would be the equivalent of 100% when the halving happens. There's not going to be enough Bitcoin to meet the demand. People are hearing about it. You're seeing retail interest. You're seeing institutional interest. Sure, maybe the whales will sell. Maybe Bitcoin will retest some of those lower levels. But ultimately, I think you know where this is going. And if you don't, What are you watching this video for anyway? But that being said, I do actually have two things, two little bits of news. Actually, it's kind of like altcoin news I wanted to bring up. Number one is being that Zcash has apparently converged with Cosmos. This is interesting. So they're going to be utilizing what's called peg zones to add anonymity to the cross-chain transactions. So you're going to be able to shield assets, transfers, have staking, and it's also going to be possible to move Zcash from one blockchain to another. And also, I wanted to talk about Chili's partnering with the UFC, which is pretty crazy, to allow fans to use the tokens for the experience. So they're basically saying that fans can now exchange tokens on the platform for tickets to UFC events, experiences, and related rewards. So obviously some people are super bullish on altcoins. You know me, I'm more of a Bitcoin guy. I do appreciate the altcoins. I like projects, what they're doing. But look, either way, the way that I see it is this is one giant cryptocurrency ecosystem. And yeah, I mean, anything to get people involved, anything to get eyes on the space, it's only going to be better for Bitcoin in the end. And yeah, I mean, Bitcoin's still trying to push up at the time I'm making this video. So we might have a massive dump by the time you're watching, but man, if we could break out some of these previous levels right here, like if we can really put in a nice solid weekly above this downtrend, the next level is around the $11,300 level. So it's possible, guys. It's possible. So obviously, if you are looking to trade Bitcoin, if you're looking to long or short, I do recommend personally Bybit. That is my exchange that I use. I'm mostly just a Bitcoin trader. I don't trade altcoins. Do keep in mind leverage is extremely risky. I don't recommend it for beginners. But if you are into altcoins, you can check out Femex. They do have Chainlink, Tezos, Litecoin, and gold as well. So if you haven't checked out the tutorial I did on that, it is popping up above. But that is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Thank you for everyone that's been liking, subscribing, and commenting. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. If you want to join my free Telegram group, I do have a link above right here, up by the subscribe button or down below. A bunch of cool people. We just hang out, talk crypto all day. Yeah, that's about it for me today. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Very exciting times in Bitcoin and crypto. We'll have to see how today ends. Tomorrow is the weekend. Things tend to get a little bit crazy on the weekends. But yeah, that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I love you. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.